Hello, St. Thomas Academy, and welcome to the Cadet Football Show. My name is Mike Maxwell. I'm your host, and to my left, as always, is head football coach Dan O'Brien. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mike. It's good to be back.
Yeah, it's great to be back. Our show has been renewed by the network, and we're back for season 2, and we're looking forward to our weekly discussion about cadet football. So let's take a quick look at last season. Our cadets went undefeated during the regular season, kind of cruised through the section and got a section championship, and then ran into a bit of a buzzsaw in Mankato West in the first round of the state playoffs. And just for our audience sake, give us your thoughts on last season and in particular that final game.
Well, Mike, it was a great season. It was a fun season. We finished 10-1. We would have loved to gone a little bit further. For the football purists, it would have been great to have Mankato West and St. Thomas Academy in the championship game. I've been hearing that since last fall. It was number 1 versus number 2. And interestingly enough, in 5A football, that's the class we play in 5A, they don't rank teams. You play by sections, and they change up the sections. In class 6A, they rank them. And had 5A ranked the teams, I think it probably might have been St. Thomas Academy and Mankato West playing at US Bank Stadium, which I think would have been great. And talking with Channel 45, that was their wishes that they would have had that game in the championship game. And of course, Mankato West kind of ran through the rest of the playoffs. They did have a pretty good game against Maddaus in the championship game, but certainly we felt like we were right there. That game itself, if you remember, we had some snow. It was a great old school football game. It was two physical teams getting after one another, and unfortunately they made a couple more plays than we did on that day, but that's one certainly could have gone either way.
Yeah, that was a great night, a cold night, as I recall, from a fan perspective.
It would have been fun to be a player, but I, as a coach, got a little bit cold as I got towards the end of the game. But I was really proud of our kids. I was proud of our team and the effort that they had. I don't know that we expected to be that far with the team that we had coming back, with the amount of kids that we replaced as starters. But we had some great senior leadership, and was certainly a fun season. Of course, again, gives us big shoes for us to try to fill this year.
Right, absolutely. Well, congratulations on a great season, and of course we're looking for some continued success coming up this year. Let's look forward to the 2022 season. You lost a few key players of note: Leo Bloom, Grady O'Neill, among others. Of course, those are big holes to fill. But don't you feel like your team's a little more seasoned this time around than you were maybe a year ago?
Well, I think the biggest thing is the senior class. This year's senior class is 38 kids. Last year's senior class was, I think, probably end up being right around 23 or 24. So wow. That in and of itself, it should give you some veterans on your squad. And we do have some kids coming back that have played a lot of football. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to go and have a successful year. Of course, it all comes down, each team is different. Every year it's different. And it comes down to hard work. It comes down to what you've done in the summertime and what you've done, what you do once camp starts and throughout the course of the year. And we certainly will miss Leo. I don't know that you can fill his shoes on the offensive line.
A lot of space to fill.
Yeah, he was 6'4", 265. He's at Yale, and I texted with him the other night. He's off to a great start there and enjoying that experience. I also have talked with Grady O'Neill. He's the other one that will be hard to replace. He's, of course, is at Wisconsin and on the football team there with the Badgers. And his speed and his elusiveness, of course, is hard to replace, and maybe you don't replace that. But I do think that we'll have some depth this year that we maybe didn't have last year, so hopefully that'll help carry us.
Awesome. So speaking of hard work, you've been through all of your summer workouts and training camp. Any surprises for you coming out of camp as you went into last weekend's scrimmage?
Well, I think we've had a couple of kids that have flashed a little bit that we're excited about. I think Teddy Knapp, the offensive tackle, he was a sophomore that started for us last year. Right. He's put on some weight. We'd like him to put on a little bit more weight, but he's had a really good summer, and so far he's had a good fall as well. The two running backs, Love and Savion, I think they're going to be fun to watch if we can come up with some guys to build around with Teddy Knapp up front. Right. So we're excited about it, and we think we should be in good shape.
Yeah, that's good. Speaking of, Teddy Knapp growing a little bit, filling out a little bit. Yeah. You've got your kids in the weight room, all summer long and all throughout the year. Do you feel like that's starting to pay some dividends here? You're in this is year 5.
Yeah,
for
you.
you. Wow,
Number 5. Yeah,
time flies when you're having fun.
I know.
Do you feel like that's making a difference in the players as they are preparing for the season?
Yeah, don't question it. And we do it for a couple of reasons. We had our parent meeting, and I talked about this at our parent meeting. First and foremost, of course, is to get bigger and stronger and faster. That's important. But there's some other things that go along with it. Number one, confidence. It builds great confidence in our kids. It builds some toughness in our kids. It's an injury prevention situation, so it makes the game safer for our kids when we're stronger, and we don't get hurt as often. So
Right.
There's injury prevention pieces. Several different pieces go into it, and our kids now that are seniors have been in our summer program for 4 years, and they kind of know what to expect, and they embrace it. They know it's not going to be easy, and they grind through it, and I certainly believe it has a huge impact on how we do. And I thought, as an example, last year in the Mankato West game, I thought our legs were still pretty fresh, and that comes from what we do in the summer. That doesn't come from just what we do in the season. So
Yep.
it's a critical piece of our program, and it always will be. And it's important, and I think it's important for all sports to be training and to train year round. And of course, as adults, we need to be exercising and doing those kind of things. So hopefully, we're building good habits for the future as well.
Well, I was gonna say that these are life skills that you're building into them as well. So I think that's a great benefit as well. So you mentioned injury prevention. Obviously, they're not completely preventable. You had a
Right.
kind of an injury to a key player last week. Tell us a little bit about that and how you're dealing with that.
It was a tough night. We had an inter-squad scrimmage, and of course, anybody that plays football, has been around football, has watched football, or any sport for that matter, riding your bike or you name it, there's always a chance and risk for injury. Football is a collision sport, and unfortunately, we had a non-contact injury with Blake Fritz. He's our starting safety. He's a returner from last year.
Yeah.
During the inter-squad, he intercepted a pass and was running towards the left boundary and stuck his left foot in the ground and cut back in. Again, nobody around him, and he was just trying to stay in bounds. Mike, and the knee opened up, and he blew his ACL. So unfortunately for him, his senior year is going to end early, and we're going to really miss him. He had an edge to him. He played with a little bit of edge on defense. He had a little bit of nasty.
Yep.
Nice kid, great kid off the field. One of my favorites, of course, as a defensive back
Exactly.
and a safety.
Yeah.
And so we're really going to miss him. He's been great, though. He's been around, and we'll find some things for him to do that can kind of help to still feel part of the football program, because he certainly is, even though he's injured. But we'll miss him for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So switching gears just a bit, last Saturday you traveled to Eden Prairie for the annual scrimmage. You took reps with Champlain Park and Eden Prairie, a couple of high-profile 6A schools. Give us a recap and your impressions of how the day went for you guys.
Right. Yeah, it was. First of all, it's fun. I love to go against the 6A schools. I think it really gives us a really good measuring stick.
Yep.
How do we stack up? And size-wise, we don't necessarily look like it. They're bigger than we are. They're faster than we are in some places. But I think the thing that came out of it for me was our kids competed. Our kids battled. And we held our own against Eden Prairie, who's a perennial 6A power, and they expect to have a really good team back. I think they've got 14 starters back. Coach Grant had told me, so he's expected big things out of them this year.
Yep.
I thought we did well against them, and I thought we did well against Champlain Park too.
Right.
So it was a good day. It was much better than what we did last year. I thought we performed better than last year, so I'm excited about that. But again, that's kind of now in the rearview mirror, and we have to take what we learned, what we learned in practice to that scrimmage, and now what we learned from our scrimmage, and we have to transfer that into practice this week, and of course into the game here with South St. Paul on Thursday night.
Got it. So you mentioned your opponent for this week in the home opener with South St. Paul, Thursday night, Jerry Brown Stadium. This is a team that gave you a little bit of trouble last year in the opener. What are you expecting from them this year?
Well, I think anybody that's worn a Cadet football uniform and has played against South St. Paul, I think they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But we expect the same thing as last year. Tough, hard-nosed, physical kids, sound assignment-wise, kids that fight back, kids that don't give up, kids that are going to come after you. in the first quarter. They're going to come after you in the fourth quarter, at the end of the fourth quarter. But it was a good game last year. It was 18-7, and I think we scored, midway or later in the fourth quarter to kind of pull away a little bit. There were parts of that game that we played well and parts we didn't. I think we were inside the 15-yard line 4 or 5 times and didn't come out with any points. We either turned it over or we turned it over on downs or missed a field goal. So I think that will give them some confidence coming in, and we certainly know what to expect, that we're going to be in a dogfight, and I wouldn't expect anything different. So Thursday night will be fun. It's it's the season opener. It's the last home opener that our seniors will ever play, and so we have a lot of things to be excited about for Thursday night.
Grass will be a little shorter on our field than it will be at
I wasn't going to bring it up, but since you did, it was wet. The grass was about 6 inches. I think we lost a couple of our shorter players in it when they fell down. But yeah, it'll be fun. It will be a turf, and I think that's an advantage for us. And we're happy to be at home for sure.
Absolutely. So coming out of the scrimmage, obviously lots to work on. But what are the 1 or 2 things that you've been working on this week to prepare for South St. Paul?
Well, I think everybody will prepare to stop our run game. I think that Love has been playing for us for 4 years. Love out of Maddaus, so he's no secret. Savion had a breakout year last year as a sophomore. Between the two of them, they rushed for 2,000 yards. So I think their running game is people will be geared to stop that. We'll see 8, 9 guys in the box like we have for the last year or two. As we've had running backs that have had good years. So for us, I think what we need to do is we need to open up our passing game a little bit. We need to throw it. We need to catch it better and more so than what we have in previous years, so we can be a more complete offense. So we're working on that piece, and from the defensive perspective, we need to tackle. We need to get out, we need to tackle, we need to have some fun and play with enthusiasm and get to the ball. Those are just basic things that are important all the time. We have had good defenses over the last 4 years, and we need to continue that trend. I know this, if they don't score, it's tough for us to not have success.
Your offense doesn't have to do as much, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
And we're focusing on the third phase of the game with the special teams. And I think early in the season, hopefully on Thursday night, that we can win that special teams battle. And I talked with the guys yesterday about one of our goals for this game will be to manufacture some points off of special teams. So if we can do that and help the offense, help the defense out, we'd be pleased with that.
All right, that's awesome. Well, Coach, thanks for taking some time to talk a little cadet football. I look forward to doing this during the season and each week. So I look forward to seeing you next week, and good luck on Thursday night.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
You got it. So your cadet football team plays South St. Paul this Thursday night. Kickoff is set for 7 p.m. And the game, of course, will be here at St. Thomas Academy in Gerry Brown Stadium. Tickets can be purchased online in advance. We'll put the link below for you. Tickets will also be available at the gate, but you need to have a credit card in order to buy tickets at the gate. There will be no cash sales. And if you're unable to attend but want to watch it live, you can do so at cadetbroadcast.com. Again, we'll put that link in the comments section. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week, and go Cadets.